Hey guys, so I'm just going to be going through MyFitnessPal and explaining what it's for, how you can use it, how to track, a couple of little shortcuts and things to look out for. Okay, so first of all, MyFitnessPal is a calorie tracker. It allows us to track our calories and macros as well, which is going to be the basis for what we do on this coaching program. So what I'm going to go through initially is just how to log your food and a couple of things to look out for. So here you see we've gone into the diary. If you scroll through, these are all the different things we can log. First thing I'm going to note, you don't need to log water. Okay, I advise that you get plenty of water in your day, but there's no need to log it. Secondly, exercise. Do not log exercise. It's not just that it's time consuming and highly inaccurate, it'll also throw off our estimations for your energy expenditure. It makes it a real pain in the ass. So don't log exercise, guys. But what you should be logging is anything that you eat or anything with calories, so that includes drinks. So I'm going to go through a little bit of things, a couple of tips on how to use it. So first one, if we go to add food, we'll look at some of the recent things of it. You can go in free cut foods, and then there's things like homemade foods, where this is where you've created a recipe, which is what I'll come to later. So let's say that we want to search for a food. Now what this will do, if I put something in, like a standard breakfast for me, maybe a bit of bacon, as we put this in and click search, it's going to bring up lots of different types of bacon medallions. Now this is everything that's been input into MyFitnessPal, so these have all been saved by anyone in the public. Now as you can imagine, that leaves a lot of room for error. So the first time you put one in, what I'd highly recommend is looking on the back of the packet, just making sure they match up. So bacon medallions from Sainsbury's. This looks pretty good to me, about 13 grams of protein, 1.2 grams of fat. What I would do is check it on the back of the packet. If that's right, all I'm going to do is change the serving size, so how many slices I have. Let's say I have 3 slices, just to be awkward. I'm going to change it to 1 slice, but 3 servings. And that's going to automatically update the proteins, carbs and fats, which you can see at the top next to the calories. As we click tick, it's going to drop that in. And now you can see I've got 98 calories in the breakfast, and it will automatically, so what I'm tapping there is where it says calories remaining. This is a bit of a shortcut. You can just tap that, it'll bring up this screen. The one to keep your eye on is the day view of nutrients. I know I clicked a lot there. I'm going to explain all that shortly. So if I look at the day view, this lets me know how much I've got left for the day. So you can see I've used up 20 grams of my protein. I haven't used up any of my carbs, and I've used 2 grams of my fats. Okay, so each day you can look at this. The idea is to try and fill this up without going over. Okay, let's go back. So let's say with the 3 slices of bacon, I have a couple of fried eggs. So if we search for fried egg, okay, you can see now what's starting to happen there is things are coming up as I'm typing. That's because I've recently used them, and the same thing will happen with frequent foods. So let's just search for a fried egg anyway. There's a couple in there, but we'll have a quick search. So fried egg, large, whole, that looks pretty right to me, about 90 calories. Yeah, about 7 grams of fat, 6 grams of protein. That's pretty much bang on. So let's say I have 2 eggs, and they're large eggs. So we're going to leave it as large. We're going to change the serving to 2 and click the tick. And it's easy as that, guys, okay? So that is if you're using stuff like bacon, eggs, works really well. Let's say for lunch, though, I have sort of a fajita bowl. So we didn't put the chicken. Pan-fried chicken breast, you can see it's come straight up there, but I'll search for one anyway. Chicken fried pan, because I like to write things backwards. So let's have a little look through. So what you'd want to do is find one that looks about right. So 100 grams of breast, half a breast. In fact, this top one looks pretty good to me. Yeah, that looks not too far off, okay? So it's going to have some fat in there, some protein. So let's say if we did have half a breast, we're going to tap that, in we go. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So let's say if we use half a red pepper, we're going to type red pepper to come straight up because I've used it before. We're going to look for red pepper. So instead of a cup, I want one whole red pepper. So I'm going to scroll down until we find a whole pepper. Say we can't see one. So let's see if we can, instead of looking for a cup, let's see, there we go. So if we go into the serving size, instead of a cup, if we go for a medium red pepper, and if I only use half of it, we're just going to change the serving size to a half. And in that goes, we click the tick. Again, so if we're going to add something like a onion, we do exactly the same with the onion. So we're going to go onion. You can see they're in there. They're already in there. Red onion, half a cup. We'll click the tick. Quite oniony. Okay, so as we're going through this, you want to just add absolutely everything. So you do this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All the time that you're going through, I want you to just keep an eye on your nutrients screen, trying to fill up your allowances. Mine are notably high because I'm trying to gain muscle. Yours will probably be quite a little bit lower than this, especially if you're on a weight loss plan. They'll probably be lower than this, as I've gone through a long period of reverse dieting. But yeah, your allowances, I want you to fill up. So don't think that going under them is a good thing. It's not. The other screen that you can keep your eye on is your calories. So whatever your goal calories are, you can see mine at the bottom, 3,780. If yours are closer to, say, 2,000, we're just going to look at the total calories, and that's going to give you an idea of how close you are to hitting your calorie goal. And then the nutrients are obviously the next stage where we've broken it down a little bit more. There is a macro screen on here. I'd rather you don't use this. Okay, so what this gives is a representation of how much you've eaten as a percentage. It's really, so that would look like I've eaten a lot of protein today, but if we actually look at the nutrient screen, I've only eaten 63 grams. It's just that I've eaten a lot less carbs and fats. So don't worry about the macro screen too much. I just want you to keep an eye on those screens initially. Cool, okay, so as we're putting food in, if we want to add a food, what we can do is there's a barcode scanner, and if we click that, it'll bring up, you can see it's on the keyboard there. I don't think I've got any food to hand, but basically if you scan a barcode, it'll just bring up a list, the food with the calories. So it's a really quick way if you're eating food out of a packet. It includes veg and anything else that comes in a packet. And just be aware that sometimes, and I'll show you an example of this if I can find one. Let's have a think. Let's see if there's any spurious pulled pork. So if you put stuff in, the green ticks tend to be good, but they're not always good. Let's have a look. So basically what can happen is anyone can input this. These will look quite good. But as you're checking it, you can get dodgy readings here. So where people just randomly put numbers in sometimes, and it'll look like it's all fats or all proteins, and it's just wrong. So just be aware of it. I can't find an example there, guys, but just be careful as you're putting stuff in that it looks accurate. Okay, that one actually doesn't look right at all. So a cup of pulled pork, I can guarantee will have more than 5 grams of fat. So the best thing to do, if you're unsure, just Google it, have a quick look, find one that's more accurate. So that top one, I'm almost certain is not accurate. That looks a lot more accurate. Okay, so that looks more like a serving of pulled pork. That's how it should look. Cool, okay, so that's how to keep a log. There's a couple of screens that I need to see on a day-by-day basis. So the first one, and this won't look right on mine because I don't use MyFitnessPal very often, but I did put some food in yesterday, so we'll see how this goes. So this will give the last 7 days, and that will take an average of the last 7 days and let me know roughly where you're at. So this is why it's really important to log everything over a 7-day period. If you don't log everything over a 7-day period, it will throw these numbers off massively. The same with calories. We can see that yesterday I logged a couple of meals, so it's put something in there. If we tap that, it will let me know how many calories I've eaten and then give me an average. So you can see that's massively off. Yours should be full and really consistent. That line provides you with your target. Okay, so you should be sitting just around the line, and I'll explain in a little bit more detail later in the course things we can do to get around going over and under the line. The final one is the macros one. So you can see this is a different view. The day view gives you a percentage breakdown. The week view gives you these charts, and these are actually really handy. So if you tap them, it will give me the calories, very similar to the calories screen, but also lets me see how much protein, fats, where your calories are coming from really. So how much protein, carbs and fats you're eating in comparison with the total calories. So that's a good screen. Now all I want you to do is just screenshot me these and just send them me now and again. Once a week would be perfect. If you can put them in the group on Feedback Friday, that'd be really good. And it'll allow me to sort of make sure that your plan's working and that you're staying on track. Okay, final couple of things just before we finish. If I come into here, what we can do in more is set goals. So once I give you your goals, and these may change from time to time, you can input your calories here. So let's say this was a 2,000 calorie plan. You input 2,000 calories, and then we can change these percentages by just tapping them. Let's say if your plan was more akin to let's say 40, 30, 30. And we change it, and you can see it changes your total intakes. So that's handy to know. Final thing, if we go into recipes, meal recipes and food, you can see I'll input a couple of things here. So if you want to create a recipe, if this is something you make from scratch but you eat quite a lot, it's a really good idea. So let's just create one now. Enter ingredients manually. Let's call it Paul stew, which serves 4. Click next. I'm going to add ingredients. So, and now it's just the same as we were before. So let's say it's beef chunks from Aldi. Let's have a look. Beef chunk roast. Let's go with, this sounds about right to me. So all I'm doing now is just what you guys should be doing, is just checking over, making sure that it looks about right. 24 grams of protein, 5, okay, that looks fine to me. So we're going to say it comes in 100 gram packet. Let's say it comes in a 250 gram packet. We're going to change it to 2.5 because it's set to 100 grams. That's now 250 grams. Okay, and then we're going to keep adding ingredients. Let's say it's got 1 carrot in there. I'm going to search for a carrot. 1 carrot. Let's say it was just 1. So that's no good. So we're just going to go back out. Carrots raw. Let's see if there's 1 carrot. There we go. 1 medium carrot. There's 1 of those. Let's add it in. We continue doing this. At the end, we're going to save it. Oh, it's Paula stew. There we go. We're going to save that. Now if we go back into my diary, and for dinner I have the stew. If we look for Paula stew, it should come up. The easy way to do it, which I should have showed you, is going to recipes at the end there. Paula stew, 1 serving of that, and you can see it's divided everything by 4 for us. We add that in. Okay guys, that's pretty much it with MyFitnessPal. It's fairly straightforward. If you have got any questions, don't be afraid to ask.